welcome. This is Business at 9. I'm Shivani Gharat. Now, the Ministry of External Affairs has confirmed that the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri represented India at the meeting convened by the UK Foreign Secretary on the situation in West Asia. In his remarks at the meeting, Foreign Secretary noted the importance of principles of freedom of navigation and unimpeded transit through international waterways. Sumita joins us with more details on this.
That's right. It's an important meeting that was convened by the United Kingdom. More than 60 countries participated in that meeting, along with India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri. And in fact, it was convened by UK's Foreign Secretary. This was on the situation in West Asia. It was also on the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, what did the Foreign Secretary talk about? Well, he noted on the importance of the principles of the freedom of navigation and unimpeded transit through the Strait of Hormuz through international waterways. He particularly stated, and that's essentially what the MEA readout also suggests. Vikram Mistry also emphasized the importance of and the impact of the crisis on India's energy security and the fact that India remains the only country in the Gulf to have lost mariners in attacks on merchant shipping in the Gulf. Vikram Misri also underlined the fact that the way out of the crisis can only be through dialogue and diplomacy, provided that all concerned parties go back to the negotiating table. They sort of talk and have a dialogue amongst each other. Now, remember, this is important because the Strait of Hormuz, which controls roughly about or accounts roughly about 20% of the global supply of oil, has been choked because of the joint strikes by US and Israel on Iran that kickstarted the conflict on February 28th, and it has only escalated up till now. Although there have been talks about whether or not there's going to be mediation. There were 15 conditions that were put by the United States. Of course, Iran had its own conditions, but the Strait of Hormuz has remained choked for many countries. Now, as far as this meeting was concerned, we did hear from the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer in an address to the nation. He stated that as the talks are going to be part of UK's efforts to ensure the future security of the international waterway. And he said that this meeting will happen later this week, wherein the Foreign Secretary is going to call upon nations and bring together nations for the very first time, where a viable diplomatic and political measure or a set of measures will be discussed to restore the freedom of navigation, the guarantee of security of trapped ships and seafarers.
Sumita, thank you so much for getting us those details.